These two Chiefs must impress at Chiefs mandatory minicamp for the sake of themselves, but also for the sake of the team. There's a lot to get into, and it's rare that you see UDFAs that need to contribute in order for the team to be successful, but that's exactly what's happening. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue. Ryan going rogue. That's RGR. And I want to give you a quick hitter today about the beginning of mandatory minicamp and what we want to see. Hopefully that expectation comes true. It is not all the way written in stone. There's a lot of question marks here. If you're new to the channel, like, sub, and hit that bell so you know what's going on as I give you updates throughout the week and we run down everything. Now, this comes from a question last night in our Monday night Q&A, which is every week at 6 Central. You want to join that as well if you want to know about your Chiefs. How do the UDFAs get focused on getting into minicamp, and how do you know when they're making some noise? Well, there's a couple of ways, and these two guys definitely need to perform in order for themselves to make the roster, but in order for the roster to actually continue to evolve and get better as well. And it really comes down to two guys. And I think everybody's excited about Justin Ross, as you see here, because of what he brings. I do think he should be in the battle for a roster spot. That's really what it comes down to. And it doesn't mean that he's going to make it, but the fact that they're going to take some media and do those kind of things and they release it like they did here, that means at least that they're preparing for the possibility that he's somebody that you could want to have these media packages on. It doesn't mean anything. It means that there's a possibility. And I do think that he's one of the guys that is definitely in the fight from the UDFA class to make this roster. The other is Jerry and Ely. And Ely has such a unique combination. We saw them just bring in Jerick McKinnon for a little bit of speed out of the backfield. Ely has that as well, and he can line up there as well. But he can line up in all of the wide receiver positions as a guy that kind of shifts some of the coverages, that tries to look for those mismatches. That's really key. And both these guys, for their careers, they want to make this roster, but they need to impress in minicamp to get themselves in position when training camp comes around to be guys that actually get reps and aren't buried on the depth chart. So this week for these two guys is critical in order to secure the reps they need in training camp to actually push for the roster. So this is step 1B of getting ready. And I do think they have the best chances. Now for the team, if these guys can come in and beat out other competition, older competition that has experience in the league, that's just that much better for the Kansas City Chiefs and the roster they're putting together. And now that I think about it, let me add one other guy that I don't have a media package on, but Mike Rose is also on the defensive side, a UDFA that needs to push and impress this week, today, tomorrow, and Thursday in order to make this roster, because they need to have a coverage linebacker that can play as a backup role. We know who their top three are going to be. Whether Chanel starts or comes in situations, we'll find that out. I think Jermaine Carter, the veteran, you've heard me talk about him, he should be the guy that they lean on in the meantime. But they have to have depth there, and depth that can play everything, including the coverage positions when they have to do some of that. Because I think you're going to see teams try to attack them more with the pass than in the run until they have to. So Mike Rose is the guy that has that natural ability, but he's got to impress and show them that he can be a three-down backer if called on, and that he can get his job done and understand his assignments in the pass game better than anything else. So these three guys, we'll call it, Justin Ross, Jerry and Ely, Mike Rose, they have to impress this week at minicamp in order to get themselves ready to push for the roster in training camp. Big distinction, but something that's really going to help out not only them, but the team. Let me know who else you want to see or who you think actually has the best chance of making this roster in the comments down below. Thanks for checking this one out. Make sure you like and sub and hit the bell so that you're part of the Rogue Nation going forward as we get ready to finish up this minicamp and get ready for training camp, because the next season is almost upon us. Thanks for checking this one out today.